Good day, America. Stand by for news. This is EVTV. I'm Jack Rickard. And now it is for a second week in a row.
Hey.
No.
It's good to be here 2 weeks in a row.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Well, you come, you go. I know.
Gets snow plowed. Yeah, that's right. I'm lost in the suburbs of Cape Girardeau, which are about 8 minutes away.
Yes, right. 8 minutes across.
8 minutes across, exactly.
No, it was, I didn't come in on snow day. I came in and shot that video on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was too bad out. Weather's a little warmer now, and we're doing good. What do we know about? We traditionally start our show each week with some Tesla talk.
We do.
It's just boy talk. Jeff Southern put down a deposit. He's going to buy one.
He did. Good way to go, Jeff.
So that killed his boat project.
His boat praise going to come visit us.
He hasn't even picked up the Tesla, and I've already got him talking about a '67 Mustang Fastback.
Oh, geez. He's incorrigible.
He's incorrigible.
He is incorrigible.
What do you got on Tesla?
Well, I did get out of the state of California this week. It looks like Tesla's will get up to a $34.7 million tax break. I didn't realize that California is one of the only states that taxes capital equipment.
Yeah.
And that's a big, big deal because their Tesla is, they can spend up to $415 million is what they're talking about to get this $34.7 million tax break from state.
Well, I'm just all titillated that they got a tax break, but what are they spending $400 million on?
They are going to, looks like it wants to double their production so that if they did 21,500 cars this year, they can get up to about 35,000 cars.
Recall, if you might, the little thing I ran of Jeff Straubel at Stanford talking, and I came away with the impression that they're serious about selling 400,000 cars a year here pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's
amazing.
And
now, I heard this week, they're talking about showing up at the Detroit Auto Show next January.
Oh, really?
Not this coming
right,
January.
But the 2015 show?
No, the 2015 show.
Wow.
With their $35,000 car for everybody.
Really?
And according to von Holzhausen, the Model X is done. They're fine-tuning stuff in the wind tunnel.
Really?
Final design things. So the Model X may be a little more pregnant than we had thought.
Right.
And the lower cost car for everybody, which I don't have a great agenda for there.
No.
Do it when it's comfortable.
Right, when it's time.
But, of course, they're getting a lot of analyst speculation in their stock price based on them growing up and doing a Brazilian cars. So they're pressing it, but that sounds like a product show January 2015, and, it'll probably be 16 before they'll have something. But when you see them spending $400 million on equipment, as I said, one of their main strengths is that NUMMI facility.
Exactly, yeah.
They can grow forever. That building's got 3 freaking zip codes.
Yeah.
It's normal.
It's all over Northern California.
There's places in that building that employees don't want to ride past because some say it's haunted.
That's right. It's haunted.
They don't have electric to some of it. It's huge. And so
scary.
Without ever doing a move, and you don't know how mortal that can be to a growing tech company. Well, you might. You went through a couple with me, didn't you?
Moves,
no, you went through one with me.
Yeah.
Boardwatch. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's and we weren't manufacturing.
Right, we didn't have to keep an assembly line going. Yeah.
But we wound up with 2 phone systems and 2 internet systems and everything, and tied them all together and stuff for months trying to get everything to work. But they never have to make a move.
No, the place is used. That NUMMI facility is
huge. They can order $400 million of equipment 20 times, and they've still got floor space to put more.
Yeah.
So, that building's got 3 zip codes. The latest Tesla fire.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't heard about that till you told me. Yeah, what was that all about?
I want to talk about that a little bit. I may know something about this.
Okay.
Orange County, California. At a university, they had a Tesla catch fire, or a garage catch fire with a Tesla in it.
Really? Wow.
And it's all broken into a brouhaha between Tesla and the fire department. The fire department does not claim the car caused the fire, but they're looking at the charge thing on the wall.
Oh, at the EVSE. Okay.
Tesla insists it has nothing to do with their car, and it has nothing to do with their charge thing.
Okay. Okay.
And guess what?
What?
I happen to know they're both in violent agreement, and they're both absolutely correct.
Are they? Oh, man.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because it's reminded me to turn mine back down now that I've
yeah.
tested it. And you need to be aware of it. You know, the whole how fast does it charge thing at home has turned into all the guys with EVs know that it doesn't matter much. As long as it's fully charged when you come out in the morning, who cares?
Yeah, overnight is fine.
Unless you're staying out till 2 a.m. and hitting the tracks early at 7, in which case you know how to hoot with the owls and fly with the eagles. I'm telling you. But when you're 58, that
you can always get a ride home or to work.
So, yeah, if you can come in at 2 and be digging out of there for your tea time at 7, you're doing better than I am. For the rest of us, it doesn't matter so much how long it takes to charge. However, some of us are curious. And the Tesla wall charger has inside of it a dip switch. And you can set that to charge at different rates by entering different little 4-digit numbers, basically, with these 4 little slider switches, from 32 amps up to 100 amps.
Oh, okay.
I actually have mine at my house set at 100 amps in the garage. The old EVTV set?
Yes.
Well, that's because I have some AUG 10 cable, which is a little too light, coming right out of the box. It goes right out a brick wall, down to the ground. It's in conduit the whole way.
Right, right.
It goes the length of the building in a trench full of gravel.
Yes.
And then it comes up a brick wall on the outside and goes through a hole into the back of the charger station.
Right, right.
And the charge station and the cable to the Tesla Model S, I can assure you, is well able to handle 100 amps. However, the 10 AUG really isn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
the orange cable. And that's the heavy cable you would put in a house for a range or a something like that. You can get a 100 amp circuit breaker for most garage panels, but you have to look.
Yeah, yeah.
They really don't want to sell you anything over a 60, and there's a reason. You probably don't have the wiring to handle 100. And if you did have the wiring to handle 100, you probably don't have the wiring to handle it for 4 or 5 hours continuously.
Yeah. Oh, man. Heat.
See, in the garage, a lot of times you'll wire up a 240-volt circuit, throw a 100-amp circuit breaker on there. You know, you can run your air compressor, and you can run your welder, and you can do a lot of stuff.
Yes,
on that circuit.
Yeah.
But none of it's going on very long.
Right, yeah.
How long are you arcing with your welder?
Yeah, not long.
You know.
Yeah.
So this is a car you're plugging in for 4 or 5 hours. What they've done, undoubtedly, was put a 100-amp circuit breaker in the panel, leave it set for 100 amps. They ain't got the strings to carry it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And it caught fire in a wall.
Yeah, that would make sense. Wow. Getting that hot.
So it wasn't really the charger, and it wasn't really the car. And it wasn't really the 100-amp circuit breaker, but take care.
Yeah.
And what do you need? I'm going to turn mine down to 40 or 60 or one of those. I'd forgotten I left it there to see how it did.
See if it could do it.
See if I could detect heat, if the case of the charger, cooked and got brittle. Or,
getting
I mean, you know, some of that stuff. And but we've run it that way for several months, and I'm convinced the charger can handle it, and the car can handle it, the cable can handle it, and even their little
the connector.
Very small connector seems to be able to handle it. But my wire underground, I assure you, gets hot. The only reason I haven't had a problem is there's nothing to burn. It's in a conduit, and the conduit's in gravel.
Right.
And
It's
it's
in the ground.
crawling up a masonry wall.
Yeah.
There's nothing to catch fire.
Right. And it probably stays
Now,
a
if you're
little
running through wood joists, you're burning the garage to the ground.
That's right.
Most likely.
Yeah, probably at some point. Yeah.
And so be aware of that, and pull out your instructions on your charger and check it. And really, even a 85 kilowatt battery pack, 45 amps is a lot of power.
That is. It's a lot of power.
It's going to charge you pretty quick. And so that's the Tesla Orange County fire. I think I know what happened, and they don't. What else have we got?
Let's see. A little car sale news. Our friends up in near the Arctic Circle, the Norwegians, electric vehicles hit a 12% market share in November. Tesla was. We'll keep talking about Tesla a little bit. They were number one to the VW Golf, which is now the second most popular vehicle in Norway. Nissan Leaf sold 512 in November. Tesla did 527. So just between those two, did 1,000 EVs in Norway, and some VW Golfs.
Somebody put a number to that. We said going back to Arnold Flarsgaard,
right,
who we got the Ford Edge from. He was going to make electric cars in Iowa and import them into Norway. And the BMS fire on the Princess of the Orient or something,
on the ferry,
Scandinavia, on the ferry.
Yes.
And Norway banned non-homologated electric cars. So it has to be an OEM vehicle. Somebody told me this week, Tesla Model S, $137,000 in waived taxes.
Oh, that's right, because they had that almost 100% of your car value.
Yes.
Wow.
You can buy a new car in Norway and wind up paying the value of the car in the first registration.
Oh, man.
And they're waiving all that for the electrics. And so, huge advantage, Tesla, in Norway. Almost totally distorts everything. Oddity is Norway is one of the wealthiest nations in the world per capita income. They own a bunch of North Sea oil, and they could have all the gasoline they want, but they prefer to sell it to other suckers and keep the money.
That's right. Just hang on.
And so they are all over this electric car thing like cheap on a plaid coat.
There you go.
And so that's you'll expect to see more of that. What else is going on?
Just a little news from the racing end, which is kind of interesting, that the owners of the Boston Celtics, which also a couple of them own part of the San Francisco 49ers, have put $21 million into our Formula E, into our electric car racing. They have
Racing's a black hole. You can just throw
money in it.
Yep,
you can just throw money in it.
No, it's picking up steam. I heard they're going to have a big event down in Miami, and somebody's gotten behind that.
Andretti.
Andretti,
Well, Andretti's already in, but they are doing the marketing.
They're kind of starting to promote the race in Miami.
Yes, they're doing the marketing for the race in Miami.
What's this thing going to be, about 3 laps?
You know, I think they're going to run an hour, and on a road course, that could be three laps. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. All right, let's move right into our stuff.
Fun. There we go.
Let's go talk to Jehu Garcia. He's got a Christmas video for us.
Oh, does he?
Sort of summarizing the first year on the Samba bus.
Okay, cool.
In this week's episode of the Electric Samba Bus Project, we look back at 1 year of working on this guy. So the electric Samba project really started about a year and a half ago when I decided we needed like a company car, and I decided to do something, you know, interesting other than just an old boring truck or a van. So my brother Gabriel found the egg bus out in Missouri, and he was crazy enough to say, let's go get it. And he just took off and drove all the way out there and kind of picked it up. But the problem is that when we brought it back, one, it was very, very deteriorated. It had a lot of rust. It was going to take a lot of money to get to a point where, you know, I felt that it was going to be good. And plus, it had a logo on the side, and it was still registered to the original company that had bought it. So it was essentially a one-owner vehicle. And the more we looked into it, the more it became apparent that we couldn't just hack into this thing. We couldn't just completely restore and erase all the history that this car had. So we needed another vehicle. Gabriel once again found another VW bus, and this time it was up in Oregon. And again, he was crazy enough to just take off and drive all the way to Oregon just to kind of see it. It looked really good in pictures and stuff, but it was kind of a gamble because it was really a too good to be true kind of thing. And he kind of just took off and rode into the sunset and went to pick it up there. Once he got up there, he let me know that it looked straight, it looked legit, it was a real vehicle. The guy just, you know, he was just not really good at answering emails and answering calls, I guess, from other people who were interested in buying this car. So we made the deal, we paid the guy, and we towed it home. So then he drove it down here, and it sat for a couple of months in my garage. But this week it was actually gonna mark the 1 year start of the project, because last year I decided to start working on it during the holiday break. I had 2 weeks off, and I decided, well, that's good enough time to kind of start messing with it, take it apart, you know, start taking things off, seeing what we're gonna do, and that's where it all started.
The bulkhead, the wall that divides the front cab from the rest of the vehicle, was for some reason cut. So we decided to reconstruct it, but we decided to do it better than the original. We decided to go with the walkthrough, which is an option that you could order from the factory.
I think the original idea to put the windows really came out of the fact that 2 of the doors in this panel had already windows. They had been changed. So we were gonna have to go and find the right doors, or either patch these doors and cover up the window hole, which just seems like a whole waste. That's, I think, where my idea kind of started, you know, going. I thought, I already have 2 windows there. It wouldn't be so hard to buy the other side, the other pair of doors with windows on there, and I'm almost halfway done to having a 15 window, which is, you know, one of those really cool buses. There's actually they're kind of rare. There are not a lot of them out there, and so that's how the idea started. We're like, you know, instead of buying doors, you know, looking for doors with no windows, why don't we just find for another pair with windows, and then we put them in there, and then I don't think it's that hard. I think we really figured it out. I don't know how to weld, but you know. My dad welded a car back in the 90s with, you know, with one of those arc welding machines, you know. If he can do it, I can do it too. Why not? So that's how it started. As the days went by, I was like, hey, let's do this, you know, and they brought me a welding machine. It just kind of evolved. I just kept working on this thing every day. It was kind of an addictive thing working on it. And so every day I'd go over there and spend at least 2 hours working on this car. And the more I worked in it, the bigger and the crazier ideas got. You know, it's like, oh, what if we just get a roof and then put it in there? Oh, what if we convert it into electric? You know, what if we do this? And then by the time we ended up doing this thing, it was a complete different car, and it was one of these things where it had to be converted into electric. So the idea of converting it into an electric really came after I decided I needed a car after 4 years of not owning a car. I was really drooling at that time at the really newly discovered for me Model S, the Tesla Model S. The problem was that there was a 12 to 15 month wait to be able to get one of these cars. So it was really hard for me to get so excited and put down $5,000 deposit for a car that I wouldn't be able to see until 15 months later. I remember thinking I could probably build a car, an electric car, faster than I can get the Tesla Model S. As it turns out, I probably would have gotten my Model S before I'm finished this, because I'm not nowhere near being done with this. But I tell you what, it wouldn't have been as fun as a project. It probably would have been a lot of fun driving it, and for a longer time I would probably be just normal driving an electric car, you know. One of the roadkills guys, Finnegan, said, why would you want a car that it wouldn't strike up a conversation every time you go anywhere, you know? I definitely recommend it, whether you be an environmentalist, whether you be for political reasons, whether you be because you want performance. It really, going electric just appeals to the whole gamut of people. I think the only ones that don't like it are the people, the old petrol heads, they call themselves, and that like working on cylinders and like to hear the roar of the engines and stuff. They're the only ones that are not gonna kind of like it, and they're gonna fight it as this new technology comes in. But for the rest of us, I think we need to embrace it, and if you feel like doing it, it's totally worth it. It's been some of the most fun times that I've had working on a car. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't really a car guy before becoming a car guy, just because I'm working on my Samba so much, and I'm starting to, get to see other cars and starting to learn about modern performance and geometry of suspensions and the whole thing. And I'm starting to think that, hey, I want some of that. You can't beat the old classic style that you get with the car like a Volkswagen Samba. So I guess this is it for this special edition of the electric Samba bus, the 1 year anniversary of the beginning of the project. We're not quite done yet, but we're moving forward. So until next week, we'll see you. Bye. Almost lost our wheel right here.
Well, hey there, little Canto Feliz Navidad.
That's right, man. Coming at you.
We like the Samba bus.
Yes.
And if you'll recall, last week I talked a little bit about Otmar's project.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I've got a couple of videos. First, I had talked to him in September. He wanted to sell the Doka. Okay. Doka is a double cabin, a double cabin.
Double cabin, yes.
Of a Vanagon, a transporter Type 2, Type 3.
Yeah, that's right.
A Type 2 transporter, Type 3.
Yeah.
A Vanagon. They were made from 1980 to 1991, and it's kind of a squared up version. And sort of an upscale version. A lot of them had air conditioning and stereos and stuff of the bus.
Of the old transporter, sure.
Of the Type 2 transporter. This is the Type 2 transporter, Type 3.
Yes, there you go. The third type of the Type 2.
It was introduced in 1980. They made it to 91. The Doppelcabin Doka is a pickup truck. And in 1961, I think, the Germans passed a tariff against American chicken.
Okay.
And we've called it the chicken tax ever since then. We responded with a tariff against light commercial trucks.
Okay.
This is why the Aerodynamics, the E-Transit Connect, gets shipped over here with windows and a rear seat.
Yep.
They take the windows out in the rear seat and then make it into a commercial truck.
Ship them back for this.
So they don't have to pay a 25% duty.
That's a lot.
And that's still in place, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
And so the pickup version of the Volkswagen bus never was imported here at all.
Oh.
Individuals have brought them one at a time and brought them in and had things done to them to get them licensed here and so forth. It's really quite a process. In fact, there's a company that specializes in doing that for you. And there's a handful of them in the United States, but I mean a handful. They're very rare.
Oh, okay. How cool.
We watched Richard Van Waage do one, and it came out great because the Doppelcabin has what's called a treasure chest. It's a thing across the behind the cab and down low that goes all the way through and has a door on both sides, and it's ideal for batteries.
Yeah.
Then too, the engine compartment is enormo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's bigger than the original transporter, but 4 electric motors in there, and a chair.
Yeah, a Barca Lounger.
Barca Lounger.
Yeah, it is pretty big. I had an 83 Vanagon. That was a pretty big engine
had a 84, and I traded a 67, what did they call it, a combi.
Like the regular bus?
Yeah. Well, it was the first one with the curved windshield.
With the curved, okay, yes, okay, yeah.
67, and I traded that for the 84 because I just didn't have any heat. We're in Colorado in that little thing, and of course the 84 was a water cooled engine, but its heater wasn't much better.
Oh man,
a little bit, but I had stereo and stuff. Anyway, so this thing's quite rare. So I just kind of laughingly told Otmar, "Hey, we got no room around here. I'm out of money. I'm spending money on all these liquidations. I don't have any place to park it. The thing's so rare. I thought he was kind of doing us a favor. Here, you could put this on the show,
Okay. Yeah.
So I told him I'd take it. He actually got a little tiffed off at me that I had backed out of the deal. And no, if we tell you we'll do something, we'll do it. And I had Brian send him a check today. I misunderstood the situation.
It's on its way.
And these things, and it's for $13,000. If anybody wants one, get him a bid above that.
Yeah, that's right.
In the next week, and you can have it.
Before it goes on
we really don't have room for it, but no, I told him I'd take it. We'll take it, Otmar. Sorry, I didn't. I misread the situation. They're fully restored on the Samba, 50 to 60 grand.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they're just rare.
Yeah,
you can't
rare.
get them. There's dozens of them in the United States.
Yeah, that's rare. Yeah.
So, but this one's got a little rust and stuff. He's got most of the parts to make it a synchro. They did have a synchro version, kind of rode up high and had 4-wheel drive. This one really isn't that, but he's got most of the parts to do that.
Okay.
We'll take a look.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll go that way or not. Maybe we'll make it into a low rider, slide that puppy about 4 inches off the ground. But
we'll slam it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll do something with it. But that's the Doppelcabin, and so what I'd really like is for Yehu to get his out of his, and he said he was having trouble making money. Throw a plug on that Samba.
Oh, on the one he's doing.
On the one he's doing. He's got double doors on it now. The walk-through front. the 21 window, throw a plug and take it to a shower stall manufacturer.
make a body.
Tell them you want 100 Samba fiberglass bodies.
That's right.
Find an acrylic guy to do the curved windows. You can use acrylic even windshield.
Now you can, yeah.
It has to have a certain finish on it, but it's DOT approved for windshields, and sell kits.
Pretty cool.
Samba bus kits that don't rust.
That's right.
And I think there's $1 Brazilian laying there for him if that's what he wanted. I had some interesting news this week. A little bit of news and a lot more analysis by a guy named Steve Levine.
All right.
He did just an excellent article write-up on the Envia collapse.
Oh, okay.
And this kind of is a neat story. I want to talk about this just a little bit, kind of give you a sense of where batteries are going. I had a conversation with Voltronics, another one with Calb this week, that it's either I have it completely wrong or these guys are going to get spanked. They don't see it coming. Envia is the third bankruptcy. Of course, we lost Interdel,
right.
A123.
Yes.
Interdel went to Russia, 2 cents on the dollar, after eating 100 million or so U.S.
That's right.
taxpayer funds. A123, same thing. I think 192 million U.S. funds.
Yes.
And they went to China.
They did.
10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, B3,
and,
4, 5.
Envia just collapsed before they ever had an IPO. If you'll remember a year ago, there was every day a press release about this company in California that had a 4 times better battery ready to go right now.
Right. No, yep. We reported about it. I remember it.
Well, no, we kept getting inquiries about it.
Yeah.
Our viewers kept sending us email. Oh, have you seen it?
Yeah,
Have you
we've seen
it?
it,
Have
yeah.
you seen it? Yeah, I saw it. That's what I would say. What does it mean? Doesn't sound like it means anything to me. And so we didn't really pursue it further, other than to note that General Motors had indeed funded it.
Yeah, that's right. They did.
At one point, they started throwing money in the hopper, $8 million, I think, and we're going to help fund this development. Well, it was kind of out of nowhere, and none of it sounded exactly right to me. As it turns out, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
But it was a good story because it's some chemistry that's interesting.
All right.
The anode, or the cathode, let's start with that, was a lithium, nickel, manganese oxide, cobalt oxide cathode. I call it the kitchen sink cathode. They left nothing out.
Okay. Including the kitchen sink.
They just mixed a little bit of everything in there. That was actually developed at Argonne National Laboratory.
Okay. All right.
And it has a potential of about 400 watt-hours per kilogram.
That's impressive.
Our batteries we're selling you right now, with the case and everything, comes in about 105 watt-hours per kilogram. By the time you use our strap, maybe 100.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And so this material has some promise. Most of the cells are kind of cathode constrained. The graphite anodes can actually do more, typically about, what did I say in the last video, like 280 watt-hours per kilogram.
Okay.
But more than our cathodes
Then they can do, yeah.
So these guys supposedly had come up with a new the nickel manganese cobalt is called for short. They just call it NMC.
Okay. Okay.
And nickel manganese cobalt, NMC. The other holy grail on the anode side is silicon. This is because silicon hosts about, I think it's 8 times more lithium ions. in the intercalation in the crystalline structure. Again, these aren't really chemical batteries. There's no covalency here. It just intercalates in the crystal between the crystal matrices. Per unit, silicon can hold 8 times more lithium ions than carbon can. Well, duh. If you add 8 times more lithium ions, you get a much greater volumetric expansion when you intercalate.
Okay,
You're putting more material in the same crystal structure.
Yeah.
It swells, and a lot more than the carbon does.
Okay.
When you discharge the battery, you de-intercalate.
Yes.
And intercalate. Heard a guy the other day. You de-intercalate. Intercalate. The lithium ions, it shrinks. Silicon is glass. On the third thing, it goes chink, and you got broken glass.
Broken glass in your battery.
And so nobody's really worked that out. But the ones I like to hear about are either graphite or graphene variants with nanoparticle silicon, kind of buffered by the carbon.
Carbon, yeah.
Well, that's what these guys came up with. In truth, they didn't come up with any of it. The principal stole it from his previous employer who licensed it from Argonne.
Oh, no.
And he did a separate license with Argonne National Labs. So it's Argonne technology. The carbon and silicon, he just bought the powder from a Japanese company that had developed it.
Okay. So,
But they're claiming it as their IP.
oh, man.
And they got a bunch of venture capitalists to put money in it based on they had this intellectual property, which wasn't really even theirs.
Wasn't theirs. Oh, man.
But they were, magic sauce,
Sure.
mixing it together. And they did presentations for General Motors. Again, this is part of the unobtainium. There is no product, there is no battery, there's press releases and websites.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is to stir up interest and cause buzz so you get to have a meeting with the guy at General Motors. Oddly, General Motors is so desperately out of position vis-a-vis Tesla, they're grasping at straws, and they went and had a meeting with him. Normally, these companies just don't deal with companies that size because they can't rely on them to produce the stuff and show up on time and so forth, and they wind up getting in these huge recalls and liabilities with millions of vehicles based on a supplier.
Yeah.
They mostly manage suppliers. Most of the car isn't built by General Motors.
Sure. Yep.
Anyway, but they bid on this one and gave him some money and stuff. Well, they made him a battery and sent it in. Now, here's what happened. It did like 396 watt-hours per kilogram on the first 3 cycles.
Okay.
And then it cratered to about 350. And then it went down 1 watt-hour with every cycle.
Oh, man.
To 300 or something. And so it didn't quite do what they thought. And the reason is, tinkle, tinkle, the sound of glass breaking.
Yeah, wow.
So GM is pissed.
I bet, yeah.
They said the battery isn't even kind of doing what you said it would. And in truth, GM had squeezed him for a very aggressive timeline and production schedule and so forth. Trying to get the 200-mile car out there that Akers is hallucinating to try to respond to Tesla, the guys that the people at GM had derided as being a bunch of kooks with playing with laptop batteries.
Right.
Well, they're not laughing anymore.
No, not at this point.
But the NVIDIA thing. So they, after a meeting, actually kind of graciously agreed not to sue NVIDIA
Oh.
or demand any money back, but it was over.
So see you. Yeah.
They were out. That cut off the oxygen. They got no money coming in. The venture capitalists sued the guy that started this for misrepresenting the IP. And the guy that owned the company he used to work for has sued him for stealing the IP.
Oh, jeez.
He's got some sort of expert that took apart his work computer and proved all the flurry of files he downloaded the week before he left.
Oh, man.
So he's in deep trouble. I can't pronounce his name. He's from India. Why do I mention this? All that glitters is not gold. However, that process has caused some interest. I still don't have my batteries. They're in St. Louis. The first 50 of them I ordered and paid for $200. And they are a cell from a company in China, and they are a nickel, manganese, cobalt, NMC cathode.
Okay, yes.
Probably with more like a graphite anode, and they're not 4 times better than our existing cells, but they put out a shit ton full of power.
We did the test, yeah.
They're pretty small. I think they were 2.8 pounds for a 50 amp hour cell, and I don't think they'll have the fade problems that that NVIDIA does, because I don't think they use the silicon in the anode. That's not to say that they're a lithium iron phosphate cell. Right. They're not going to last as long as lithium iron phosphate. They're not going to be as safe, but they may be more energy and power dense, and for certain competitive or competition applications might be worth about 100%
right.
Premium.
Little premium.
On the cells. Now, George Hamster at NetGain has a couple of containers of high-power cells he's trying to get rid of. Calb has pressured me to take on 2,000 SE cells. Voltronics has called with a bunch of their cells.
A bunch of cells, okay.
We got people dumping cells left and right. This is going to be good for you if you don't have to have the latest.
Sure. Right.
But they're not last year's chemistry. They're the year before last. Remember the Thunder Skies and the Sky Energies? That's what we're talking about. And they work a car fine, but they're kind of dowdy compared to a CA series.
Right, yeah, not nearly as stiff.
So I see a lithium price crash coming. And since I can't stop it, I'm going to cause it. It will be after Christmas before I tell you how, but it's going to hurt the battery business. We have got a battery deal for you that you're going to want. It's not my favorite battery, but it'll run a car at a lead-acid price. And we have a bunch of them coming. I think they should be here Monday in New York.
Okay. All right.
If we can get them here next week, we'll announce this. That'll probably go for 2 or 3 months. By the time the dust clears, the old Thunder Sky, Sky Energy type cells, if anybody's got any left, they better sell them for what they can get. And by spring, hopefully the CA series will have dropped a bit. But we should start seeing announcements everywhere. This NMC thing is not going to go unanswered.
Oh, sure. Right.
If they can be made to work. The other battery companies are going to jump on that. I would expect Calb and Sinopoly and whoever can play.
To offer their own, yeah.
With a new NMC cell that'll be higher in price than what we've been paying, but that will shake out within a year to about the same price you pay now for lithium cells. So I expect a year from now to be selling you batteries at the same price we are right now. They'll be a lot better batteries.
Would be better batteries, yeah.
And in the interim, from the first of the year till spring, It's going to be a battery free-for-all if you've been sitting on the sidelines thinking about doing a build. This would be a good winter to get the rust control out of the way and get your running gear working good, because I think you'll be able to buy battery packs for a very little. And I'm going to join in with that. If I'm all wrong, I may cause the same thing anyway. However, they're going to be the existing cells, which we use to make cars now, and that's fine.
Sure.
But the future looks better.
Yeah, with some
With
better
smaller,
technology. Yep.
more powerful batteries. And I had said this to you all, too. The real price of the batteries is not going to come down. The batteries are going to get better. They'll always be at the same price. But liquidations and remainders, if you're a bottom feeder, hey,
we got it. Come on down.
It's going to be available. Otmar, meanwhile, did we show that?
No.
Oh, we didn't. We got talking about his Doka and everything.
All we talk about was the Doka.
Well, he's going a different direction. He's bought a wrecked Tesla.
Oh, really?
And he has a stretch. He calls it the Stretchla. But a picture a Type 2 transporter Type 3 Vanagon, where he's chopped off the front of one and the back of the other and welded them together into like a 37-foot long Vanagon.
Oh, my.
He's bought a wrecked Tesla, and he's going to use that to develop the running gear, the batteries, and the recharging for the Stretch.
Really?
And he intends to drive the Stretch to EVCON this year using the supercharger network.
Okay.
Let's take a look at some time-lapse photography of them withdrawing the engine from the Stretchla and receiving the woefully mistreated Tesla Model S.
All right. something. It's how do you come up with that? That's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's busy in Corvallis.
Yes, a Tesla under a stretched Vanagon, zippered together.
I think it's very creative.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bigger task than I could quite tackle, I'm afraid. But he has buddies in the Tesla world that he's a pretty sharp guy. It'll be very interesting to follow that.
Yes, it will be.
Yeah, let's see here. So that's batteries, and Otmar, we have sent him a check. We're going to take the Doka.
Doka on the way.
And he's supposed to get this Stretchla ready for August and drive it to EVCon 2014.
Okay.
And kind of be our keynote speaker, I guess, at that
there we go.
event. And I think that would make a splash.
I do too. Yes, that's pretty cool.
Now, I'm going to predict the 0 to 60 in 4.6 probably ain't
It's not going to happen. Just a little wait.
But if you want to compete, let's go to Little Admiral in Amsterdam.
Ah, okay. Okay. Come in.
Bring it home, Anna.
Well, hi everyone, this is Anna Kloppenborg with your EVTV.eu update. We've got some great news here at the shop this week as Christmas came a little early for me. Oh yeah, Santa's Little Helpers came by today in the shape and form of Humming Performance delivering our 818S kit car. We've been talking about this baby since, well, way before EVCon. And we've been talking to you guys, well, basically every other week, thinking about how we're going to do it, why we're going to do it, looking at the pictures. But now we have the real article in the shop, and I'll show you how she came in.
Ik kan zeggen wat we niet kunnen, wat we wel kunnen.
Als het allemaal naar voren komt. Well, hey everybody, we are here today on this great 818 Factory 5 present day with Freek Hamming of Hamming Performance in Balkbrug here in the Netherlands. And Freek, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and Hamming Performance, how you came to be in the power car, kit car market?
Well, I started out with me working in the United States for 6 months at a big tuner called Hennessy Performance. And after that I came back home and I wanted to do something for Europe with American horsepower.
Exactly.
Just the tuning business would not have been enough, so we needed a second leg to stand on, so to speak. And we just simply went through the magazines until we found Factory 5. And,
Excellent.
They had the best looking product for us.
And this is how long ago about?
Almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years now. And then, am I right, did you at that time right away visit Factory 5 or did that come later?
We investigated the product for a long time. Eventually we made the visit, we did the build school and all that. And our first order would have been the Daytona Coupe. And we went back to the hotel at night and we were like, it feels good, the people are nice, and let's just order 4 cars at once so that we can ship a full container and start the distributorship.
Ja, niet van dat bange, zeggen we dan.
Exactly.
Not that scaredy cat stuff we say in Dutch. Good, and from then on it's been working. Were those Cobras or?
Yeah, mostly the Mark III and Mark IV Cobras. The Hot Rod's also a very popular car, and yeah.
And I'm right in understanding that you're not just bringing cars here and serving Dutchies, you are actually marketing to the whole EU, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We try to supply the entire European Union with Factory 5 cars.
Excellent.
We sell all the rest parts like engines, transmission, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tech support, obviously.
Great.
Yeah.
And somebody can hit you up for a full kit and advice on the components,
Yeah.
but they could also shop for a completely done and
exactly.
certified.
Yeah,
car.
we can build cars, we can do the registration. Yeah,
super. And so now there's been American Muscle has been the background, the Cobras, the Ford, and now of course Factory 5 is coming out with their world car.
Yeah.
What's been your interest and response so far around the 818?
A lot of guys who like track tools because it's lightweight.
Sure.
So lots of those, and obviously we have also had a lot of interest from the electric market.
Right. So you've heard that buzz before we even showed up on your door.
Well, we've heard about electric cars, but you were really the first to come to us.
Right.
With a request. Yeah.
To make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Freken Hamming has a 818 sitting at their headquarters, and they'll be building in the next couple of months side by side with us, which is great for the Bodie guys. That we got some real car guys to give some hands-on tech support if we do run into anything. And then probably, so like March, April, we're going to try and get these babies certified.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some nice test footage of at that time on the way there.
Yeah.
Should be a great year, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Me too, man. Well, Fake, great speaking to you.
You too.
Thanks for the service so far, and we're sure going to have a lot of fun with this 818.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. So that's our 818 coming in, and Freek Hamming of Hamming Performance letting us know how he got started in this business. We're really excited to get going with this build and really happy that we have our great EVTV components with the background going in there. Plus we have the team of Hamming Performance at our side and our backs, making sure that our first car build and our first kit car build will be supported by the pros that have done it before, so that it does not become a science project, but a actually certified road-going monster of a car, and a nice basis and prototype for a kit that we'd like to offer to you all and everybody else through the EU dealership and in America. So now that we're going to do a proper car, we also need to do some proper charging. With the boats, we always get away with these CE plugs, since that's what generally is at the marinas if you need a 3-phase or a big boost of power. But for the cars, we're getting this European Mennekes Type 2 plug. That'll do 3-phase 32 amps, so probably up to about 21 kilowatt of charging. That new Brusa, more or less made for this standard. So we'll definitely have to get this car up to that standard, and the components that we got for our EVSE to make the shop a level 2's charging station actually come so that we can keep it portable. So if we were to take the EVSE somewhere where they only have CE plugs, we could still put that in, get the 3-phase 20 kilowatt, put it through the EVSE, and charge the car on level 2 anywhere where we want. Is that going to come up a lot? Well, I'm not sure, because they are definitely building the fast charge stations here in Holland. By 2015 or 16, I'll have to find out for you guys, but anyways, there's going to be a charging station at every 40 or 50 kilometers along our highways. So that means that the limited range vehicles are now, going to be able to use a whole public nationwide infrastructure. It's a little, if your country is the size of New Jersey, it's a little easier to get nationwide going on than it would be in America, where we're going to need Tesla probably to get it all going on. Well guys, it's looking like that's probably about it for 2013, right? It's been a really good year for New Electric, EVTV.eu, probably for the EV scene on a whole. Definitely some really cool new toys. I've seen a lot of cool builds. I've experienced that sea change that Jack's been talking about in the news and the Vibe, and definitely the Model S, obviously taking the world now by storm. It's all just big stuff and good stuff. 2014, boring? I don't think so. Let's see what we have on the roster. So we will be doing 818S, building, testing, road legal, racing, who knows. Definitely going to try having a lot of fun with it and sharing it with you all. We have the Delta to finish, fine-tune, test, make faster, and cross from Calais to Dover and make a bit of a splash. Definitely going to work on that. And we even have the SS Sand Me some more. Have not shown you much lately, but she's recently been out of the water, had a recoat, we checked her all, and she is worth doing. So we will be doing our cabin cruiser. So these 3 projects, guaranteed, doing them, got them in the house. At the same time, we're noticing both EVTV.eu and within Holland, the EV scene, we're getting a lot of new calls. Now that we're branching out into the road-going EV stuff, who knows what projects are down the road for us, right? So I just want to say I hope everybody's going to have a great Christmas, happy holidays, great New Year's celebration, and here's looking to catch you all building in 2014. We're going to be doing.
So Factory 5 Racing Model 818 World Car has been received.
Yeah,
and that's going to be his next build and his first car build. Apparently they're pretty tough on cars. He's a little frightened on the licensing and engineering and so forth. It's no big deal, Anna. You just have to pay.
Yeah, that's right. Just grease them.
You gotta grease them. That's what it is. And don't think it's any different over there.
No,
it is over
probably
here.
not.
But I think that'll be a very interesting project, and I'm glad he's doing it. You know, I heard from Eric Chris this week too.
Oh yeah.
And we're of the same mind. Now he's been a big proponent of Factory 5. Did the definitive wiki on the build of the Cobra.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right.
And but the 818, he's kind of about my age, maybe a little younger. It's kind of intended as a car for younger people.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's Factory 5 strategy.
Yeah. It's to be marketed worldwide because Subaru parts are everywhere.
They are, yes.
The WRX is a universal car, and so you can build this anywhere in the world. It appeals to kids. It's a roadster. It's fast. It's light, and it's a supercar looking thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Eric and I are kind of out of supercar demographic. But he did a document. I've got on the blog. I'll put a link to this if he'll let me. It's like a proposal or case study on doing a Jaguar.
Jaguar, yes.
Mark II from the 60s.
Okay.
But this is not your sports car. This is like a Bentley or something.
It's kind of, and I think that they
big grill, roll-up window,
kind of the round, grill,
looks sort of Bentley-ish or something, and very plush, wood-grained dash, and leather seats, and four-door. It's cool.
Yeah, how cool. Yeah.
But I was amazed at how detailed this analysis of down to what the take would be from selling off the collectible parts you took off the car, an analysis of the price of the car. You can see the depth of research and thought that he goes through in analyzing the next project. And he made a big splash at EVCON this year, kind of talking about how to do that and why to do that going into a build.
Right, that's what he was talking about, yes.
People ate it up. I am actually trying to convince him to write a book after the fashion of John Hardy's Ice Free on electric cars, just kind of a general. I could do it. I wouldn't do it as well as he does, and that kind of attention to detail. But I think he's the guy, and I don't have the time. The other thing that comes through, and I want to stress again deeply, is Yahoo. We kind of blew past his Samba report. Did you notice that the guy, and he now is the proud owner of a Volt.
Yes.
But the most satisfying thing he's done in years is work on this Samba. Otmar has been around forever. He got him a new project.
He did, yes.
Anna, 818. He's jazzed.
Yes.
This isn't his first rodeo. There's a recurring theme here. And here's Eric Chris has done a Speedster, a Saab Sonnet, and now is onto a Jaguar Mark II.
Yes.
This is very real. It's going to be very real very far into the future. It's because it's a lot of fun.
It is, yeah.
It's one of the most satisfying things a guy can do in his garage.
Or in their shop.
Or in wherever. Speaking of which, let me show you our GEVCU thing.
Ah, yes.
I've been beating my brains out.
Take it away, GEVCU.
Roll it. Okay. I have spent the last 3 weeks, nearly a month, getting my ass kicked every day, trying to work with this GEVCU version 3 and 4, done by Paulo Alameda over at the Institute of Engineering in Lisbon, Portugal. He has shrunk down our Arduino and CAN bus adapter and wireless adapter down to a single board with a little wireless module on it. The problem, it's worked fine from the beginning. The problem has been the wireless module. And we actually at one point had Alex Schwartz of Connect One tell me that the module was bad, which was interesting because I had 4 or 5 of them that were bad the same way. And he did this from what looked to me like very little information and seemed to know that they had a bad batch of them out there. Paulo had a different idea. I have contracted with a group in China to make us up 30 of these. These are very small components. I can barely see them, much less solder them. Paulo sent us some boards. I don't know of anyone that had any success building one up because it's a lot of components and very small. I have tried to get enclosures and wire harnesses done for them with companies here in the United States, and we're simply giving up. I'm not even going to contact an American company about anything electronic or to be fabricated in the future. In fact, I need to learn Mandarin, and let's take a look at why.
Water gal Sunni, Charter One Lord, sure son of a gun. Tartar Sadube, Two's eyes at Zod again, Quine. Why Jan G, Pew, sure pin linker both fang. Why she Jan Young Boo One, can you Lancy hone you? Boo Young Can, Simu La, you know what I'm saying?
Get Charter Internet for only $29.99 per month. Charter, make way for more.
So if a dumb cowboy can do it, for Charter Cable, seems like I ought to be able to learn Mandarin. In any event, I sent Paulo, we got 3 prototypes sent from him that I wanted to test before they actually assembled the other 27, and they agreed to do that. I sent Paulo one, and guess what he found? He had put a little resistor, R59 on this Dash 3 version, but R56 on the Dash 4 board to a LED that flashes when the wireless module works. Now I have it mounted inside a enclosure anyway, so this LED does me no good in any event. And I mentioned that to him, that I didn't care anything about this LED. He removed R56 on his board, didn't consider it terribly important, and so didn't mention that we were working on 2 different boards when I thought we were working on the same one. I could get the wireless module to tell me it was working, but it would not come up in a wireless with an SSID, a station identifier, so you can connect to it. You have to actually connect to it and then connect to the website that it has on board. And so I was pulling my hair out, trying everything I could think of. We reflashed the firmware a dozen times. We shorted pins. We did all kinds of things to reset this and try to get it to work. And I simply could not get it to work. It turns out it was this R56. As soon as I put a solder tip to it, it disappeared. I don't even know what happened to the resistor. It was so small. I think it was absorbed into the solder on the end of the soldering tip, and plugged it in and it worked fine. And so we should have, I've given them the go-ahead on the other 27. They've told me 2 weeks. And we're trying to get enclosures and a little wire harness where you don't have to wire all this up. That'll have, wires out of all 35 pins, and the 2 that go to the DMOC 645. And a little serial connector in case you need to flash the DMOC 645. And we've been trying to get that with some American companies, and it's just probably not going to happen. They simply can't do it. We actually had one of them, a laser engraving a thing, and they told us that it took too long. They weren't making enough money at it, and so they didn't want to fool with it. I mean, you can't find a job in America. It's because you're just not making enough money. It's just not worth fooling with. You might as well go in, watch TV, and apply for disability. And that appears to be what's happening. I'm getting where I don't like to talk to people at American companies about buying things from them. It's too much trouble. Their thought process. I gave one guy $20,000 for 10 chargers, and that were supposed to be there in 2 months. A year and a half later, he doesn't know why I think he's a bad guy. Because he kept my money, and we've gotten one of the chargers, and we can't make it do anything. In any event, as soon as we got the wireless working, we started playing with it. We have a very unusual situation. The software guys and me have split. They have no test equipment, no test benches, and no card. So Paulo and I are kind of actually using it, and they're trying to write software. It's a bizarre situation. Paulo, by the way, is going to do a Mazda RX-8 and put the Siemens and the DMOC in it. And he does very good videos with music by Anamura and Fado music. And so I can't wait to get the videos, Paulo. I love the way he does videos, and this guy's a horse. And so we're just having a love fest here with GEVCU. And now I kind of have it working, and they have done some neat things in software. Of course, they've done it about halfway. It almost works, but it's gorgeous. And this one is in the case. I've got it wired up here, and I've got a 12 volts from my battery pack. That powers it, so I'm not connected to it with a computer in any way. I want to go through this. I turn this on. First thing it does is my 2 contactors, and turns those on. Powers up the pre-charges and powers up the DMOC 645. And of course, this comes up on my laptop. If I go to my wireless thing here, it shows it already hooked up. But I get different, here's the EVTV, Netgear 6, I don't know what that is. We have a number of APs around here. And GEVCU, it's an ad hoc network, but it shows up, that's the SSID is what I need to make the list. If I wanted to say join other networks, it would ask for a network name, but I can show networks, and it scans and tries to find what's out there. There's EVTV, GEVCU, and Netgear 26. I'm going to hook up to GEVCU. It has a DHCP server in it, so it gives me an IP number. And I'm connected to it just like I'd be connected to the internet, but it's not connected to the internet. It is a little mini network at this point, just for me. And I go to 192.168.3.10, which is a number that we have given it. You can give it any number you want to in the software. And that's the IP number of the web server. And I have 4 tabs here. status, which is just sort of some text. It was an early screen. Dashboard, which is some dials that actually list torque in Newton meters, throttle in percentage, RPM in thousands. This is power in kilowatts, AC current, DC current. That's AC current is current from the DMOC to the motor. DC current is current from the battery to the DMOC 645. DC voltage is our battery voltage. Our inverter temperature, it says in Fahrenheit, and our controller temperature. Now, we get most of this data reported from the DMOC 645 over the CAN bus. I can tell you that almost all these dials don't work right. The torque, I can't really say. The throttle percentage is, and it's got red here for regen and green, it shows only forward throttle percentage. And so it should all be green, or it shouldn't show anything until I get it to the forward part. More about that in a minute. RPM, I don't think it's right. Degrees Fahrenheit might be. On the status, it indicates the same numbers in centigrade. So one screen or the other's wrong. DC voltage appears to be right. DC current does not. I can measure the current out of the generator and out of the battery pack. It's almost exactly half of the current that's displayed here. AC current's dead and power's dead. But this is something you could use to kind of monitor things while they're running. The config screen is most interesting. You have little sliders here and a cunning diagram. This is your throttle map. Here's 0% throttle. Here's about 25%. Here's 100% throttle. And we can set different things. For example, pedal position regen maximum. And I've got a little slider here I can move around. Well, you can see this moves the percentage of the throttle where we hit maximum regenerative braking. And let's see, pedal position regen minimum. And we can move that around. And I'm going to set that right at about 25%. So we go from minimum regenerative braking to maximum regenerative braking as we back off on the pedal from about 25% pedal down to, I've got it set for 5% or something, 3%. Then I have a little gap here between regen and forward is green. And that's so I have a little coast notch in there where I can just let it coast without applying any power. My forward motion start, again, I got a little slider here, and I can move that around anywhere on this line. I'm going to put it just ahead of the regen start. And this is the end over here, but I actually have a pedal position 50% throttle. Then I can slide back and forth here. And you see that kind of changes the shape of the curve. So by putting it kind of far to the right, most of my throttle position, this is to 50% forward torque. Then I just have about at 75% to 100% is the other 50% of the torque. Well, that gives me very fine control at slow speeds. And then from half speed to full speed is only 25% of the pedal. Well, if I want to go, I just step on the pedal to the metal. So I don't need a lot of definition on the high end, but I do in the driveway creeping around. So this lets us set up our throttle values and some other things. Our brake regen, our maximum RPM, maximum torque, the log level, and so forth. And then I hit save, and all those values go into the EEPROM in the GEVCU, and we can go from there. So I've got this kind of set up. Let's go to the dashboard. And this is a potentiometer and a DC voltage meter. And if you notice, I'm turning it up. I'm at 1 volt, and nothing's happening. Of course, the first 25% of the 5 volts is in regen territory. And the DMOC 645 doesn't turn the motors backwards in that event. But so when I get to about 1.5 volts here, my motor starts up. Now this is showing me at 3% throttle. That's not right. It's like 28%. It's minus the zone for the regen. And so he's got this throttle kind of mixed up, but it more or less works. I'm doing 1,437 RPM. It says, 5 amps or something. That's not right. 243 volts, that probably is. Here's my temperatures, and these are dead. But I can turn this on up. And my motor smooths out, generator, and my throttle moves up. I'm showing 49 Newton meters, about 1,538 RPM, which I suspect is wrong if we were at 1,400 before. My temperatures are kind of climbing. I don't have any liquid cooling on these things. My voltage is down to 241 because I'm kind of loading it. And I get a DC current, it's just not right. But it's kind of fun to play with. Anyway, I can turn this up. So I've got good control of my motor, which is loaded by a generator, which makes current and puts it back in the battery that I'm feeding from. I'm kind of at the low side of the voltage that I would want to run the DMOC and the Siemens from. But that's kind of the situation. It works. I can turn it up. See if we can blow something up here. I'm at about 2.5 volts. That's 50%. We're showing 30% on our throttle thing, and 1,650 RPM. And but the motor and generator are virtually vibration free, and so I've got pretty good control of it. Now if I turn it down, you can see it stops suddenly. That was because it was in regen. If I turn it here, gradually come down, start to get some cavitation there. That's sort of my free roll zone. See right there, it's just sort of spinning down slowly because I'm in coast. If I crank it up again and then crank down, suddenly it actually reversed. It stopped and reversed the motor, and that was from the regenerative braking that was on the throttle. So kind of cool. We're working. We can do our contactors and turn on our DMOC 645 and control our motor. This, we're calling the Dash 4, and I think Apollo's actually got a 4.1 or 4.2 design done now. But we added 4 outputs, and I went over the schematics for the GEVCU a couple of weeks ago. So we have 8 digital outputs, 4 digital inputs, and 4 analog inputs. And so this potentiometer, where I'm running some fraction of 5 volts in, replaces the throttle, and that's on one of the analog digital inputs. The wireless board does a web server, and yeah, you can do this with the Arduino DUI and I guess a CAN bus shield and a web shield, but we're not doing much of the web in the Arduino DUI, and we do have performance issues. We have to be able to man that CAN bus timely, and we don't want to get bogged down in a lot of stuff. Most web servers, you post a page and it has to scan it and extract all this stuff. One of the reasons we selected this wireless module is it has a microprocessor built in. And it does all the scanning of these things we submit on the pages, and we just fetch changed variables. It doesn't give us variables that weren't changed. And so we get a very small amount of data. When you make changes on your configuration, we just get some numeric data in bite-sized pieces as we request them for what changed on the website. And it's really kind of a what next type thing, and you'll go fetch them until it quits giving you new ones, and you update your EEPROM that way. And so this GEVCU is going to be a honey. This is going to be a remarkable device that you could use to run a whiskey distillery if you wanted, but I think it'll work very well, and we're a step closer. Within 14 days, we should have production units. Not a lot of them, but enough for the guys that are out there that have, DMOC 645s and haven't been run off the reservation for being ass clowns. So that should get us going pretty well with DMOC 645 and the Siemens. It's turning into a usable drivetrain. Based on the GEVCU. It was January last year I announced this program, and it's taken a year, but I think we're going to have a platform that's kind of endlessly extensible in a lot of ways. Although we have 8 output pins and 4 input pins and 4 analog inputs, there's 2 CAN bus channels on there. We can put sensors, current sensors, voltage sensors, battery management systems ad infinitum in the car and have it talk to this thing over the CAN bus. What would be an example of that? It's hard for me to lay out for people the whole vision in the first bite, but here would be an example. I take the other CAN bus 2 wires, hook them to pin 16 and pin 6 of your OBD2 connector underneath your steering wheel. If you don't have an OBD2 connector because you've done a classic car from the 1960s or pre-1996, no problem. We'll have the connectors in the web store. And I take a little ELM 327 wireless or Bluetooth device that you plug into OBD2s. This has been worked out by other people for other purposes to monitor the ECU data in cars since 1996. There's a program called Torque for the Android, and there's another one called Dashboard for the iPad that you can define gauges, their upper and lower limits, their names, the values, and most specifically, the CAN bus address. They think of them as PIDs. That's kind of a partial thing, but it's really a CAN bus address, and you can enter them in these programs. Any CAN bus address, 29-bit CAN bus addresses, and the format the data takes, and it will monitor that CAN bus and any transmission from that address. It will retrieve the data and update the dial. And so you can have a tablet size display on your dashboard, and we go into the GEVCU and do a little module that just polls our motor controller for temperatures or throttle position or whatever, and formats that using those addresses that you entered into the Torque program or the dashboard program, and put them on the CAN bus, the second CAN bus. And so it almost becomes trivial to do a tablet display for an electric car using the GEVCU to generate that's where the information will kind of be centrally located. We can do a little Arduino that measures current and battery voltage, a little BMS thing I've talked about in the past, and put it on the CAN bus. We might even be able to just snag the data off of the existing CAN bus from the DMOC 645 and map it into torque. We might not even have to do all that. I might be able to turn that into a PAR file for torque that you just load, and it'll read this data and have these dials. And so all that becomes very easy once we have the information and the control is done in this box in C++ in open source software. And so that's why all the effort on GEVCU and why I wink out on you periodically during the year trying to get some of this going. There have been a lot of people involved with it, and so I haven't been the only one working on it, and that's kind of like herding cats in a lightning storm with a 5-iron, as I found. But they've done some good work, and we can take it into the future. They can. It really doesn't matter at this point. It's become a thing of its own. You can too. And if you come up with anything good, send it back. The licensing of it is such, by the way, that you don't have to send it back. We did not get into all these little control games that the open source guys so often do. It's kind of an MIT type license. You can take this software and this hardware and go make a commercial product, make it entirely proprietary. We don't care. We've got an outfit that's, I think they bought 3 motors and so forth and they're trying to figure out how to drive the DMOC 645. I told Brian, call them and tell them it's done. We'll send them the code. They can put it in their box, or they can use this, or it's open. We don't care. You can have the information. It's no longer a secret. The guys that made the DMOC 645 are out of business. They're bankrupt. They don't care. It's an orphan. And we've kind of dug out how it works, and you're welcome to it. We've been kind of focused on the hardware end of it, because putting an Arduino DUI in a car is and I'm sure a bunch of you will try it, and eventually I'll sell you a GEVCU, because it's just a pain in the butt. The wires come loose, and the thing's not built for that. You blow up the Arduino with a noise spike, and it's just it's a great thing to develop on and to learn on, but you don't want to put that in a car, and you'll find out why. I don't have to preach on this one. You'll come to me. It just doesn't work out. So we're just at the cusp of getting really what I consider the first good solid version of the GEVCU hardware. The software is far enough along we can control the car. I drive one. Paulo will have one. Unfortunately, a lot of our main software developers don't actually have cars or adequate test benches to verify their code, which was really what led to the sort of breakup there. But we're going to go forward, and I think I'm getting pretty excited about the possibilities for the future. I don't even think half these guys know what this can be in the future. By making it open and available, you can do stuff with your electric car. So that'll be cool. Anyway, we got the wireless thing going. I didn't get anything going. Paulo did. R56 has to go away, Paulo. But I've already put that change into the assembly company in China. And fortunately, since they don't understand English very well, I communicate very well with them, and they do anything I want. It's the American companies that do understand English that I have a problem with. So, wang dong wang fang. Know what I mean?
That was something.
Some days I just feel like somebody ought to beat me with a stick.
Some weeks.
And this has been weeks and weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
over something stupid I just could not get done.
Yeah, and those resistors.
I should have known. That R56 always did bother
Always
me.
did bother. I kept looking at it. Kept
I
going
should
back
have
to
known about that.
Kept going back to it.
But that's the sort of thing you get caught up in with development stuff, and particularly with people working on different continents, different time zones, different languages.
Right, exactly.
But hey, wang dang.
That was pretty good. I hadn't seen that ad.
Learn Mandarin. Well, it's because you don't watch cable.
That's right. That's right.
It's a charter cable ad.
I'm on
the cowboy can learn Mandarin. By golly, I guess I can know what I mean.
That's right.
And
know what I mean.
So, but no, you get into these things with time and distances and so forth. It's great to work with a group of people worldwide on a project, except
for the LED.
You have to be very careful that you're all on the same page at the same time.
Right.
Or you wind up with the 12 blind men feeling up the elephant and each describing what it looks like. And that doesn't quite work. Oh, Steve Cornett.
Oh.
Busted me this week. Oh, man. And I do this. I don't know anything about it. Things mechanical. I was not a car guy. We've talked about this way for 2 years. It's all bullshit. We did the adapter thing last week.
Yes.
What do you call the thing that squeezes onto the shaft?
I thought it was a taper lock.
Yeah, that's, I thought the same thing.
Really?
The one problem with that?
What?
It isn't a taper lock. It doesn't look anything like a taper lock.
Something completely different. It's a shaft squeezing on thing?
Well, it actually has a name, and Steve Cornett called my attention to it. It's a quick detach bushing.
Okay.
Often called a QD bushing. After he told me that, I got on eBay. I can get one for a 1 1/8 inch shaft for $6.49.
Oh, no. They must be everywhere.
They're everywhere.
As long as you know the name to put in the search.
If you know what it is.
The thing about search engines, huh?
Yeah, you got to know the name of stuff.
Part of what you're looking for. Oh, no.
And,
so what's quick detach?
Quick detach bushing.
Quick detach bushing.
QD bushing.
Okay.
And they all look the same. They all look just like what we've been using.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Yes, thank you. We'll appear much smarter now.
Yeah. We try to look smart. I do it by dress. Brian tries to comb over effect to get his.
I try to fumble
to look good. You know what? That we were our longest show last week. Yes. I may go for more this week. There is one thing that we do the Revo Electrics. We're a dealer for their Power Lab 8.
Yes.
Which of course. You didn't buy. He got us a Cell Lab 6 from somewhere else for cheap. He can struggle with that. I'm not going to tell him how to use it. We actually kitted up all the little pieces. Revo Electrics, RC helicopter guys, but we love this little Power Lab.
Yeah, the Power Lab 8 is cool.
To drain batteries and do discharge curves and charge curves and so forth. They do a good job. They have done they also sell batteries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we were talking about the NMC battery and so forth.
Yeah.
Anodes and cathodes and electrolytes and separators. It all sounds pretty mystical.
Yeah, it does.
It's not.
It does. Yeah.
The anode is a piece of copper foil with charcoal painted on it.
Yeah.
The cathode is a piece of aluminum foil with a fertilizer painted on it, lithium iron phosphate, typically. Iron phosphate is a yard fertilizer, lithium being sort of mixed in with it. The electrolyte is various or non-aqueous organics, methanol, ethanol.
Resembling whiskey?
Resembling whiskey, some carbonates, ECD, DEC, DEC, DMC. There are various versions of antifreeze, whiskey, and Coca-Cola.
There you go.
That have no water in them, and they float lithium hexafluorophosphine, hexaphosphate, LiPF6, a salt, a lithium salt in this, and that's the electrolyte. Mm-hmm. And they wrap it in a trash bag.
Yeah.
That's the separator. Revo Electrics kind of shows you what that looks like in a production environment where they do small batteries, a small production line, and where it all kind of makes sense. I'm going to run this video and let you take a look if we have time this week. I kicked it down the road last week, and keep from being 3.5 hours.
Well, you would say
it may not make it again. Let's take a look.
Here's the finished product, anaerobic cathode material, different sizes and different thicknesses depending on the seed rate and the capacity of the cell that you guys need. There's the insides of your battery. All the anode plates and all the cathode plates with the separator. You see just how the woman did it just then. Now you know when you burn your batteries what it looks like on the inside. She's the one putting them together. More capacity you need, just add more plates. So there you go. There's the insides of your polymer battery. So here we go guys, after the cell has been sealed, they go into the baking ovens to remove the moisture for around about 72 hours. After they come out, they'll get retested again. Here's the battery formation room. The electrolyte has just been injected and you can cycle 4 times. Full charge, full complete discharge. It does not arrive until it's gone through this process. This will take around about 12 hours for every cell. Here guys, the cell has actually been in the formation process for the 12 hours and 4 cycles. Now starts the first aging process. Typically between 5 to 8 days, they will leave the battery alone and then check the voltage, capacity and IR after that specified period of time. Let's leave it here for another few days. So there you go guys, that's the process of making your lithium polymer batteries. Hope you appreciate it and the quality control checks, and be safe when you're out there flying.
Making electric boats isn't just making boats cleaner, it's making boats better. Being out in an electric boat means you can enjoy the environment you're in. You are so much more immersed in the sound and the experience of the aquatic life, of the water, of the wind, than you would otherwise be. And it really gives you a new level of understanding and enjoyment of that generally beautiful nature area you've gone into to enjoy yourself. What an electric motor does is that it gives you all this power in a vibrationless, soundless way. A well-thought-out, well-designed system has 100% of the torque available all the time. You don't have to build up to it, you have it. So when you pump the throttle, you are out there and your whole shot is amazing. It takes your center of gravity right out from under you, and it gives people that what they call the EV grin. You just start laughing, you can't help it. You're so conditioned to think that you first need vibration, then need noise, and then you start going somewhere. And in this case, your center of gravity just shoots right out from under you. And it's a wonderful feeling. You can still talk to each other. You're hearing the sound of the water and the wind and the waves instead of just hearing engine noise and vibrations. And it gives you really a chance to be in tune with that nature that you're actually out there to enjoy. Plus, not having to visit the pump is actually a great thing. Your battery will eat electricity from any source that you provide. I mean, who loves sitting around on your knees with a jerry can? We have better control over the boat. We have a better experience while we're out driving. Plus, we also have the knowledge that we're part of new technology. It is just way cool. Our mission is to make beautiful, fast, and fun electric boats. There's nothing more fun than taking these new technological developments and putting them into classic designs and having people shoot away with a big smile and an EV grin.
That's pretty cool. You can make batteries at home.
You can make batteries in your kitchen. We ought to come up with a home battery kit.
That's a home battery
Let people
kit.
make them in the bathtub.
Oh, peace, imagine that.
That's right.
Whew, we don't want to kit that.
It's all doable.
Yeah.
The guy asked me the other day if I had any ideas about how to make a better battery. I said, what are you talking about? That's what I'm thinking about whenever I'm walking around looking lost and dazed and confused all day, every day.
Like one of those bubble things. What are dogs thinking?
Yes. What are dogs?
What is Jack
What
thinking?
is Jack thinking?
Just fill in the thought bubble.
I'm thinking about taking copper foam, making a slurry of silicon nanopowder and graphite oxide, dipping it and putting it in a laser engraver and engraving it to graphene.
There you go.
Haven't got all of it worked out yet. I don't know how to clean up the laser engraver after we get done. So.
What do we do with it?
Yeah. How to do it in one long continuous process.
Yes. Oh, man.
So, anyway, that's our show for this week. I have no more. If you have nothing with which you would care to enlighten and elucidate to our gracious viewers this particular Friday before Christmas, do you?
That's it. I'm good.
We're out of here. We'll catch you next week or the week after, somehow after the Christmas thing.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy. In fact, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you.
Uh-huh.